And there were wide-ranging reports, speculation on Deion Sanders' future as a head coach, being able to actually walk the sidelines. And we know that he had a couple of toes amputated. There were a blood clot. That was a couple of years ago. But this was something different. This was bladder cancer. And those close to him, at least one person that I spoke to yesterday, said that he wasn't prime, he wasn't coach prime, he was Deion, and obviously very concerned about this. So it took on a whole different tone behind the scenes from what I was told yesterday of this is about living. This is about quality of life. And I don't think we understood the severity. And he was being private with this, but he was also sharing this with some of his close friends because Prime has confidence. Prime walks in the room and you know he's there. This was different. And he was asked yesterday about this cancer and coming back from it, being able to coach.
I always knew I was going to coach again. I didn't realize I was going to coach again. I was always going to coach. It was never in my spirit, in my heart, that God wouldn't allow me to coach again. That's never thought like that.
Yeah, I was told that privately, though, he did wonder if he was going to be able to do that. Could he walk the sidelines? Would he be in a press box? So, the mortality of this, one of the great athletes of our generation, and then all of a sudden you look at him, he's lost a couple of toes, had a blood clot, bladder cancer. We're all mortal. I think it hit me really, really hard years ago, and I mentioned this last week when I saw Earl Campbell, and we were in Houston for the Super Bowl, and he was in a wheelchair. And I don't know why it hit me so hard, and then I run into Jim McMahon in Tahoe, and Jim talking about that maybe, he was going to have to get his leg amputated, part of his leg amputated. We sort of live in this world sometimes. We're in a vacuum, and we don't look at what is life as much as we look at what is sporting life to us, who they are to us when we see them on the field. It's when we see them off the field, and you'll see some of these players, and they're really beat up. And with Deion, first time I saw, his feet, he took his shoes off and showed us, and he had turf toe. And at that, you don't think turf toe is going to slow down one of the greatest athletes of all time, but it did. And so you had to get these toes amputated, and then you have the blood clot now with bladder cancer. But he's going to be there on the sidelines, and that was great news. It was a relief, I think, more than anything, because privately I was told, maybe it's 50-50 if he's going to coach again. And he wants to be prime. He wants to be Coach Prime. He doesn't want to be out there not able to be that person, that confident person on the sidelines. And I think maybe there was a little bit of trepidation with that or concern over that.